everybody, Denise Mazzola from Everything Dog with your 10-minute training tip. Before I forget, be sure you hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. Also hit the notification so you'll get alerted in your email every time we upload a new video, which is weekly. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure you like our page, and let's get started. So today, this is Jubilee. We're going to show you how to teach a really fun trick, a rollover, okay? So I'm just going to get started. Jubilee is 13. She's a little creaky in her bones, but we're going to ask her to do it. Ready? Down. Nope, she laid the other way. We'll see what happens. Roll over. Yay, good girl. All right, so that's the goal, to get your dog to roll over, but how do you start that? So I'm gonna bring out Matesy. She's a younger Portuguese water dog, and we're gonna show you how to start it. All right, so how do you teach the rollover? As always, if you've watched any of our videos, you know that you need some super high value food and you're gonna need a lot of it. Today's treat du jour is pork chop. So first you ask for your lie down behavior. Now, if you're gonna notice, she's laying in the Sphinx position with her hips really square. So the first thing I have to do is I have to turn those hips. So I'm gonna take my treats, lie down, right on her nose. I'm gonna turn her head to her shoulder and I'm gonna feed her a piece there. Now she's relaxed her hips. Now her head needs to come across her back and I'm watching for this shoulder to drop right there. That's the next step. I'm still feeding her as she rolls over, and I'm gonna be sure that she gets, there's 2 pieces of treat, hang on, 3, 4, 5, let me break that one up a little bit, 6, for that effort, right? Remember, dogs are always doing a cost-benefit analysis. It needs to be worth her while. So lay down. I'm gonna turn her head to her shoulder. There's the first treat. Her shoulder, her head has to go back. This shoulder has to drop, beautiful. And I'm gonna lure her head has to go first. Yay, good girl! And all of the reinforcements are gonna come in the lay down position once she's finalized that rollover. Oh, good girl. You wanna show them one more time? Okay, so the first thing is get the dog lying down, handful of treats. I'm turning her head to her shoulder. I'm giving her a treat there. Now I'm keeping my hand tight to her body, right? It's not out here, right? That's just gonna cause her to move. And it's not too far back either. I want her to, there, lays down on her shoulder. She rolls over, good girl. And that one was much easier, wasn't it? 2, 3, 4. I'm just gonna do 5, good girl. Okay, so let's show you again. I've got lots of little treats in my hand, pork chop. I'm gonna turn her head to her shoulder. I'm gonna treat her right there. And I'm waiting for this shoulder to drop as I move her head over. Good girl, and she's following all the way around and she's gonna get the bulk of the food when she completes that exercise. Nice job, mates. Good girl. Let's show you how to start the rollover behavior with a dog that it's not very agile and it does not roll over. He lays on his back naturally, but I've never taught him the rollover, so this is gonna be interesting. Also, try your dog's rollover in both directions. Sometimes dogs favor one way over the other. Jubilee seems to roll in both directions. I suspect Matesy would roll in both directions, the little black dog, because she's so agile. And we'll see what Gio does. So his down command is my arm up, so I'm gonna ask him to lay down first. He's been taught to lay square, so that's fine. I've got a handful of small little steak treats. So hand right on his nose. I'm gonna turn his head to this shoulder. Now, this back shoulder over here is the one that I need to lay down, and he's gonna fight it a little bit. So I'm feeding him here. Oh, good boy. I'm feeding him here, and he's pushing up, right? He has no idea what I'm looking for. He's like, just give me the steak. I'm gonna try to get his head to come across his back. Nope. All right, well, we'll see. So now I'm just gonna try going the other direction. Since he's switched his hips, we'll see if this is any easier for him, which way he prefers. I'm gonna feed him here. You can see that in that, oh, let's switch it back. This shoulder is not down because he's pushing off with his front legs. He's fighting that a little bit, but that's very typical of what happens. So I'm gonna show you the other direction. Down. If we go this way. You can see how much he's pushing off with his front legs. He's not relaxed about the rolling onto that shoulder. So I'm feeding him here, I'm feeding him here, here. It's almost, but he's still pushing up. He's not relaxed into it. There, good boy. So that's the first step. Now I'm going to just try to get his head to turn and feed him. Good boy. And I ran out of treats. Okay. If you run out of treats, you got to stop. Now let's try this time with some string cheese and see if it's any. Sometimes it's easier to hold the string cheese in your hand and just squeeze it out in the dog's mouth that way. I'm pretty good with holding a lot of treats in my hand, but not everybody can do that. So let's do another one. Down. So I've got one piece of string cheese that I've cut lengthwise. I'm going to turn his head. That's better. Now he's relaxed that shoulder. That's the first thing. You may not get this behavior the first time you tried, and this is the first time I've tried. So now I'm going to be in that awkward position of having to lean over him. If your dog is sensitive to that kind of position, then just stop and rearrange yourself. Lie down. You're going to have to crawl around on the floor to do this, depending on what your dog does. So there, now he's relaxed. The shoulder's still not down. Turning his head is close. There, shoulders down. Good boy. I'm trying to get as much food in his mouth as I can right there to communicate with him. That's what I want. Food, food, food. But he's got to turn his head first. Right here. Right here. Good boy. All right, so I don't like the cheese for him. He's so spitty that my hand is getting super slippery. So I am going to go back to the little pieces of steak. But I wanted to show you another option. All right, we'll give it one more shot. I would do this if your dog is struggling the way Geo is. Lay down. Set your timer for 3 to 5 minutes and no more, and then just end it. And look for the parts of the behavior that I'm telling you. Look for this turning of his head. Feed, 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 feed here. Then turn his head some more and watch for the shoulder to drop. And once you get that shoulder, almost. Once you get that shoulder to drop, there you go, good boy. Right, we get the shoulder drop. He doesn't stay there very long. Oop, doesn't help I'm dropping treats. All right, so I'm going to turn his head, crawling around with him, right here, right here. Feed, shoulders dropped, he's pushing off with my leg, turn his head. Oh, God, Gio. Turn, 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 feed. You can see how stiff-legged he is. Like you can't really roll over when he's doing that, right? All right, you guys, have fun with this week's 10-minute training tip, which is training your dog to roll over. Be patient. Some dogs get this faster than others. Geo is a good example of a dog that's going to get it a little bit slower because he's sort of frantic. Set your watch for 3 to 5 minutes, 5 minutes being on the long side. Be sure you're using super high value food, and be sure you remember to reinforce those specific points that I talked about. So the first one is the relaxing of the hips. Just feed that. When you get his head all cranked in, feed that a lot. When he drops his shoulder like that, feed that a lot. And then the next one is going to be to get his head to go all the way over and his body rolls over. And be sure you have a lot of food. When they finally make that rollover, you can't give them one piece. You got to have 10 or 20 pieces at that time to do that. All right, you guys, I'll see you next week for our next 10-minute training tip.